What's up guys, Mickle here, and in this video, we're going to go over a very hot debate in the XRP community right now, and that is whether or not R3 is going to use XRP in the future. Now, this debate has been going on for a very long time. Ripple and R3 are two companies that have both worked together and been in competition with one another. In this video, I want to go over the history of these two companies, go over why people are so fascinated with whether or not R3 could use XRP, why do people make such a big deal about it. I'm going to give you guys all the most important things that you need to know about this, and most importantly, whether or not I think R3 is going to be using XRP. Towards the end of the video though, I also want to go over something very fascinating that happened earlier today. CZ Binance actually commented on one of Blockchain Backer's charts. I want to go over exactly what that chart is, whether or not it's bullish or bearish for the cryptocurrency market, as well as go over some brand new evidence that proves that this market is heavily manipulated. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video to see that. You are not going to want to miss it. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I want to start this video off and jump right into the Ripple and R3 discussion, because this debate is very hot in the XRP community right now. And a big reason why these two companies are often talked about side by side is because they really have very similar goals. They're both looking to really streamline the financial system and make payments better. I know that's a very broad description. I don't want to get too much into the details of exactly why these two companies are similar, but at the end of the day, they really are trying to do similar things in better connecting financial institutions and streamlining the global financial system. Now, a lot of people have looked at R3 and Ripple as competition, despite the fact that they have worked together in the past. We have seen before in the past that R3 actually purchased XRP from Ripple. This led a lot of people to come to the conclusion that, hey, R3 is definitely going to be using XRP in the future. We've also seen very interesting signs such as code that directly shows R3 had ways to use XRP in their payment systems publicly available. So there has been definite ties to R3 to XRP. Now, I think the reason this is so interesting from an XRP investment perspective is because if you have two centralized companies, R3 and Ripple, both battling it out to see who can be the main software provider for these big banks, institutions, and money service providers, if you have these two centralized companies both battling it out to see who can get the most market share, but if both of their products both link back to XRP as the settlement layer, well, that means XRP wins either way, whether or not R3 or Ripple gets bigger in the future. So I think that's why people are so fascinated on whether or not R3 is also going to be using XRP. It just kind of makes it seem like XRP wins either way, regardless of whether or not R3 or Ripple get more adoption going into the future. Now, like I said, we did have this code right here from a while ago showing R3 at one point was working with XRP. We also do know that there was a settlement between Ripple and R3 in the past in which R3 was actually buying XRP from Ripple. So there's definite past ties from R3 to XRP, but we really haven't seen anything publicly available in a while. Now, a lot of people are debating today whether or not R3 has abandoned XRP, or whether or not there's still stuff going on in the background. But something that I think is very interesting to add to the discussion, but I can't comment on too much, is actually that Jake Claver, he's someone who I respect a lot in this community. He has a lot of very interesting connections, actually says that he knows that R3 is working with XRP in some way. Now, he goes on to say that he signed NDAs, he's actually working with R3 in some capacity, and can't dive too much into detail, but he seems to think that XRP having legal clarity has opened the door to R3 once again renewing their use of XRP. So we know R3 has used XRP in the past, we know R3 was open to the idea of using it. What else can we look for to see why R3 might want to use XRP? Well, what we do know is institutions all over the world, and I have been talking about this on my channel, need neutral pools of liquidity. While a lot of these institutions have the ability to set up centralized platforms like R3 has done, it doesn't solve the issue. Banks all over the world, including the BIS right here, is saying that we need third-party currencies with sufficient liquidity for cross-border payments. So no matter what centralized service you set up, you still need decentralized liquidity in the middle. And this is why a lot of people have been looking at XRP and saying, hey, R3 might need this. R3 doesn't have a token. R3 can set up the centralized rails, but they still need a decentralized liquid asset to really have a transformational product. Now, if XRP can be positioned to be the most liquid third-party neutral currency, then it makes sense for R3 to potentially adopt it. And when you look at the past connections and you look at what some insiders might be saying, it looks like XRP could be positioned to be that asset. Let's jump into some more stuff because I also think this is very interesting. We also know that SBI, one of the lead investors in Ripple and R3, has talked about these companies working together in the past. Now, this is a very long time ago. This goes back to 2018, 2019. But as you can see right here, SBI is trying to position R3 to be this company that kind of works with all of these banks on a high level. But then when it actually comes down to moving the assets and settling the payments, that goes through Ripple. So in this example, it looks like SBI, the lead investor in both of these companies, actually thinks that they can work together. And like I said before, this could potentially lead to a scenario in which R3 and Ripple are both using XRP as the rails. Now, this is where things get very fascinating, like I said in this other example. R3 and Ripple can both win, and it would be extra bullish for XRP if both of those two companies both tied back to XRP as this neutral settlement layer, this neutral third-party currency. And it looks like to me there is potential for this scenario to play out. And I want to show you one other very interesting thing from SBI CEO. And just so you guys know, just as a reminder, he is the biggest investor in both R3 and Ripple. He said what's important for SBI is to merge R3 and Ripple and make sure XRP is practically used. So this goes to directly what I was just talking about. Both of these centralized companies can both set up centralized payment services for different businesses, institutions, banks, and countries. But it doesn't solve the fundamental problem of having that neutral liquidity in the middle of all of this. This is what we have been talking about over the past couple days. I've done countless video after countless video of the biggest institutions in the world saying, hey, we can build our own internal systems, but we need third-party decentralized currencies to actually make something transformational. And that's what the Bank of International Settlements was saying right here. I read this quote earlier. So is everything playing perfectly into the idea that regardless of whether who wins, R3 or Ripple, XRP could still be used as a fundamental decentralized liquidity between all of it? And I do think there is potential for this. I don't think R3 is really using XRP right now in any large scale way. But like I said earlier, unless R3 has a better settlement option that they could use for settling payments in a decentralized nature, it doesn't make sense why they wouldn't use XRP. As long as XRP becomes the most liquid currency for payments, the most liquid platform to actually facilitate these cross-border remittances, I think there's a world where R3 capitulates and starts using XRP. Now, if that actually goes alongside with what Jake Claver is saying, that R3 is working with XRP right now because of its regulatory clarity, then everything would play into the fact that regardless of what R3 is doing in a centralized way, they're still going to need this decentralized neutral liquidity for their products. I just thought this was a really interesting discussion. I kind of land right in the middle of everyone. I don't think there's some secret system R3 is setting up right now that uses XRP for large-scale payments, but I also don't see R3 fundamentally solving the most important problems in our financial system without a decentralized liquid asset like XRP. To me, it makes sense that this vision right here by SBI CEO would actually play out perfectly, where R3 was able to create some centralized platform that ultimately utilized Ripple and XRP as a settlement layer. Overall, very interesting though, and I just thought this was something that I wanted to cover on the channel. I want to finish this video off though and quickly go over some interesting news that came out earlier today. And I just wanted to talk about this blockchain backer chart because CZ Binance actually commented on it, which is super cool. So congrats to him. And what it is comparing the 2016 market cycle to the market cycle right now. And as you can see, they almost overlap perfectly. And the 2016 cycle is saying that we actually have a breakout imminent for Bitcoin. Now, we have been in a bear market for a very long time. I thought it was cool that CZ Binance actually commented on this, actually kind of throwing his validation behind it. And it looks like we could be close to something pretty exciting. So I just wanted to put this out there. I'll retweet it so anyone can look at this closer. And the last thing I want to talk about is what could have potentially been holding this market down and whether or not there's manipulation. Well, just today, we actually had Caroline Ellison. She was one of the higher ups at FTX, testified to the fact that her and Sam Bankman-Fried or using customer funds to manipulate Bitcoin and keep the price low. Guys, if these two are able to do this, then I am 100% sure there is all kinds of manipulation happening in the cryptocurrency market right now to keep prices low so the biggest institutions can eat up as much of this industry as possible. I only think this can happen for a certain amount of time. I don't think they can suppress the price forever. Eventually, everything is going to realize its full intended value. That's the best part about blockchain technology. So when I see people saying these markets are not manipulated, I just think this is perfect proof that that's exactly what's happening behind the scenes. I think once we have rules and regulations, some of this stuff starts to get cleaned up, but it really makes me wonder if these guys were willing to manipulate Bitcoin, one of the most beloved cryptocurrencies. Imagine what people are doing to XRP behind the scenes. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.